Welcome to a deep dive into the mystical legacy of Petar Dunov. He wasn't just a spiritual teacher, right? He was more like almost like an archaeologist of ancient wisdom, you know?
Yeah.
Like unearthing these hidden truths and sharing them with the world.
That's a great way to put it. Dunov, he really believed that there was this divine science underpinning all of existence, almost like a blueprint for everything. And this blueprint, it predates the universe itself.
Okay, divine science. That's intriguing, but what does that actually mean?
Well, think of it like the source code of reality, like the operating system behind everything that we see, everything that we experience. And Dunov, he believed that this divine science, the source code, it holds the answers to all questions. And here's the thing. It's not just accessible through studying like spirituality or religion. He thought it was through the natural world, through science, through art, through everything.
So for Dunov, every discipline, everything was like a spiritual practice in a way.
Yeah.
A way of deciphering this divine science, this source code. Okay. And where does this divine science come into play? Well, Dunov believed it created our world, this divine playground where we as souls can learn and grow through experience, through living.
Like a cosmic game, in a way, you know, designed for our spiritual evolution.
Precisely. He even compares us to children playing in this playground. Sometimes, yeah, we might get into, you know, a few scuffles, a few arguments, but ultimately we're learning and we're developing our senses, we're developing our emotions through it all.
It's a really fascinating way to look at life's ups and downs. But if we're here to learn and grow, right? What's the ultimate goal? What are we working towards in this divine playground?
Well, you know, Dunov, he challenges the traditional view of God, right?
Yeah.
Like God as this being who's, you know, just catering to our needs. He emphasizes that God is the central force of the universe, right? And our purpose is to try and understand and align ourselves with that force. So it's about understanding our place in the grand scheme of things, not expecting God to just, you know, fulfill our desires, I guess. There's this quote from Dunov that really struck me. He said, "Do not say that God created everything because of you."
Right.
It's a powerful reminder, you know, of our place in the cosmos.
It is, isn't it? That quote really, really underscores the importance of humility, I think, in our relationship with the divine. God isn't here to serve us. We're here to learn from and participate in something much greater than ourselves.
And what role does free will play in all of this? If there's this divine science guiding everything, how much agency, how much free will do we actually have?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Dunov doesn't shy away from the complexities of free will. He uses the analogy of a loving parent, right? Giving their child the freedom to explore, even if it means, you know, making mistakes along the way, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the choice to follow the path that's aligned with the divine science or to stray from it. It's really up to us.
So there are consequences to our choices, but it's ultimately up to us to decide which path we take.
Exactly. And those choices, they have a ripple effect, you know, and it's not just in this life, but across multiple lifetimes. And this brings us to another key aspect of Dunov's teachings, reincarnation.
Reincarnation, right. The idea that we live multiple lives. What was Dunov's perspective on this? Was it about punishment for past deeds, or was it something more than that?
Dunov saw reincarnation not as a punishment, but as a process of spiritual evolution. It's like imagine a student needing to retake a class until they finally master the material.
Right.
That's kind of how he viewed our journey through multiple lifetimes. Each life presents these new opportunities to learn, to grow, to evolve towards this greater understanding.
So we're essentially on this cosmic learning curve, continually refining ourselves through experience. Does Dunov offer any specific examples of how this process works?
He does. He shares an anecdote about a stubborn child who just refuses to learn, right? And God is patiently guiding the child, but it takes, you know, several thumps before the lesson finally sinks in. And what Dunov suggests is that even fallen angels are like God's stubborn sons, you know, working through their own difficult lessons in the dense realm of matter.
It's a powerful image, the idea that we're all God's children in a way, each learning, each growing at our own pace, even the fallen angels. It's a message of hope and possibility, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Dunov believed that everyone, regardless of their past choices, has the potential to evolve spiritually, to eventually become like angels radiating light and wisdom.
It's an inspiring thought that we all carry this potential within us. But how do we actually tap into that potential? What did Dunov teach about the path to spiritual awakening?
Well, he believed that the path to spiritual awakening, it's kind of encoded within us, you know, but it's also hidden in plain sight, like in the stories, the symbols of ancient traditions. And he was particularly drawn to the esoteric knowledge embedded in, you know, like biblical narratives.
So he wasn't interpreting the Bible literally. He was seeing deeper layers of meaning in these stories.
Exactly. He believed that these stories, they were like parables, right? Like encoded with these universal truths about our spiritual journey.
Right.
Take the story of Adam and Eve, for example. You know, Dunov challenges that common interpretation that being made in God's image refers solely to our, you know, physical form.
He saw it as something more profound. It goes beyond just the physical.
Yes. Dunov believed that to be truly born of God meant undergoing a spiritual rebirth, an awakening to our divine essence. He argued that only those who have experienced this inner transformation, they truly reflect, you know, God's image.
So it's less about what we look like on the outside and more about the state of our inner being.
Precisely. And here's where Dunov's interpretations could get really unconventional. Like he connected the woman healed by Christ from a hunched back to a symbolic representation of Eve's punishment for her promise to the serpent.
Wow. I never would have made that connection. What do you think he was trying to convey with that interpretation?
Well, Dunov, he often used symbolism to try to illuminate these deeper spiritual truths, right? And in this case, like the hunched back, that could represent the burden of our separation from the divine, right? And Christ's healing act, that symbolizes the potential for liberation from this burden through spiritual awakening.
That's a powerful way of looking at it. And what about Adam's role in all of this? How did Dunov interpret his journey?
Well, Dunov highlights how Adam, he received these daily lessons from God in paradise, right? And he stresses the importance of these lessons encompassing both, you know, theoretical and practical knowledge. Yeah. In essence, like Adam's experience represents the ideal of a balanced education, integrating spiritual wisdom with practical skills.
A holistic approach to learning. I like that. But what about Eve? What was her significance in Dunov's view?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Dunov suggests that Eve's true name was Jehovah, representing divine principles.
Eve's name was Jehovah. That's certainly not the traditional interpretation.
Right.
Yeah.
Dunov believed that Eve's creation, it represented a specific stage in humanity's, you know, development, right? And he suggests that there was an imbalance in the masculine and feminine principles during her creation. And this imbalance, you know, it led to some bad consequences, you could say, in our world.
So this imbalance has contributed to the challenges that we face today.
Yes. Dunov believed that achieving harmony requires us to address this imbalance within ourselves and in the world around us.
Okay.
And central to that journey is understanding the symbolism of the serpent in the tree of knowledge.
What, the serpent in the tree of knowledge? Yeah. I'm curious to hear how Dunov interprets those potent symbols. Did he see them as literal beings or something more?
Dunov viewed them symbolically. The tree, he said, represents an entire epoch, a time of strength and stability. The serpent, on the other hand, symbolizes a culture driven by, you know, animalistic desires, a departure from that earlier state of harmony.
So the serpent isn't necessarily evil, but rather it represents a different path, a different set of values almost.
Exactly. Dunov connects these symbols to different stages of humanity's evolution. He says, you know, plants taught us to grow, fish taught us expansion, animals taught us about desire, and so on. Each stage offers these valuable lessons contributing to our overall development.
It's like we're piecing together a puzzle, learning from each stage of evolution. But what about the consequences of Adam and Eve's actions? How did Dunov interpret their transgression?
He believed it wasn't simply about, you know, disobeying a rule, right? Like for Dunov, their real transgression was allowing negativity to enter paradise. He's talking about violence, lies, evil, all the forces that disrupt harmony and inner peace.
And by paradise, he's not just referring to the Garden of Eden. He's also talking about our own inner state of being.
Precisely. He's reminding us that before we entertain these negative thoughts or actions, we should seek guidance and guard our own, you know, inner sanctuary. It's a powerful lesson in self-awareness and spiritual hygiene.
It makes me think about Dunov's view of death. Like, he didn't see it as an end, but as a transformation, a process of metamorphosis.
Yes. He often compared death to the chrysalis stage,
Yeah.
where we shed our old forms and emerge transformed, like a butterfly taking flight.
It's a beautiful analogy for the cyclical nature of life and death.
Yeah.
And speaking of cycles, Dunov also talks about the two trees in the Garden of Eden, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What was their significance?
Dunov saw these trees as representing two distinct paths, one leading towards God, the other leading away. The tree of life, it represents the path of spiritual growth, while the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that represents a focus on duality and separation.
So throughout our lives, we're constantly faced with this choice. Which path are we going to choose?
Exactly, and our choices, they determine our direction of travel on this spiritual journey. And Dunov, he emphasizes the importance of purity, and not just, physical purity, but also purity of thought, purity of intention. He even famously said, "Whoever wants to attain the truth shall become a nudist."
A nudist.
Yeah.
That's quite a statement. What did he mean by that?
He's speaking metaphorically, of course.
Right.
He was advocating for a stripping away of everything that obscures our true nature. Just as Adam and Eve were naked in paradise, Dunov believed that true knowledge requires a willingness to shed our preconceived notions and embrace a state of openness, of vulnerability.
So it's about removing the layers, the beliefs, the dogmas, the fears that prevent us from experiencing truth directly.
Exactly. It's about returning to that state of childlike wonder, of receptivity.
Yeah.
And Dunov believed that one path to accessing this pure state of knowing was through connection with ancient wisdom traditions, and particularly the esoteric teachings of the White Brotherhood.
The White Brotherhood. That sounds intriguing. What can you tell us about this group and Dunov's connection to them?
Well, Dunov hinted at the White Brotherhood being the guardians of ancient spiritual knowledge passed down through generations of initiates. He even suggested that figures like Moses were initiated into their mysteries.
So this wasn't just some random group. This was a lineage of spiritual masters almost. What kind of teachings did they focus on?
Dunov believed they held the keys to understanding the deeper meaning of life, the cosmos, our place within it. He stressed the importance of purity and preparation when approaching such, sacred knowledge, warning against seeking it for personal gain or ego gratification.
It's like handling ancient artifacts. You approach with reverence and respect, recognizing their power and significance.
Exactly. And Dunov, he was wary of dogma and blind faith.
Yeah.
He believed that true spiritual understanding comes from direct experience, not just from blindly following someone else's, interpretations.
So how do we find that balance between, learning from teachers and traditions, but also cultivating our own direct experience of the divine? It seems like Dunov was advocating for both.
He was.
Okay.
He believed that teachings, traditions, they could provide valuable guidance, context, but ultimately our spiritual evolution depends on our willingness to directly connect with the divine within, and a key part of that connection involves listening to our intuition.
Intuition, that inner voice that speaks to us, often in whispers. What did Dunov have to say about the role of intuition in our spiritual development? Intuition, that inner voice that speaks to us often in whispers. What did Dunov have to say about the role of intuition in our spiritual development?
Oh, he considered it essential, like an essential guide on the spiritual path. He described it as like this higher guidance system, almost more accurate than even our best, logical deductions.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like a compass that's always pointing us towards our highest good, if only we remember to actually, listen to it.
So how do we strengthen that connection to our intuition? Is it like a muscle that we can train? Can we develop it?
Dunov, he believed that we could cultivate it through practices like meditation, through contemplation, and even just spending time in nature, really connecting with that natural world around us. It's about quieting the mind, tuning out all that external noise and really just creating space for that inner voice to emerge.
It makes me think about that saying, be still and know.
Right.
Like it's about creating that inner stillness where we can finally hear that deeper wisdom.
Exactly. And Dunov believed that this inner wisdom could even help us navigate the complexities of karma.
Karma, right? This idea that our actions have consequences both in this life and beyond. What was Dunov's perspective on karma, and how did it tie into his teachings?
He definitely believed in karma, but not as some, like rigid system of punishment or, like a cosmic scorecard or something like that. For Dunov, karma was more like a learning opportunity, a way for us to understand the consequences of our choices and hopefully make more conscious ones in the future.
So it's less about punishment and more about growth and evolution.
Exactly. And Dunov, he believed that love played a really crucial role in transforming karma, right? He often cited the example of Jacob's 12 sons, highlighting how Joseph, who was born out of love, experienced a very different karmic trajectory than his brothers.
It makes me wonder if actions that are motivated by love carry a different, energetic vibration, one that ripples outward in a more harmonious way.
That's an interesting way to put it. Dunov definitely believed that love had the power to neutralize, negative karma and really create a more harmonious future, not just for ourselves, but for all of humanity, really.
That's a beautiful thought. And speaking of humanity's future, Dunov also had some interesting things to say about the direction of our evolution, right? Like where we're headed as a species.
He did, yeah. He talked about a coming sixth race, a more spiritually evolved humanity characterized by love, by wisdom, and a much deeper understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings.
So not just individuals evolving, but like a collective leap forward for humanity. Did he offer any clues about when this sixth race might emerge?
Dunov, he believed it was a gradual process, something that's already underway even as we speak. He said, the new culture is coming and nothing can stop it. No. He really saw it as this inevitable stage in our collective evolution, driven by those very forces of divine science that he so often talked about.
It's an inspiring vision for the future, but on a more individual level, what are some of the key takeaways from Dunov's teachings that we can apply to our own lives? Like what guidance can we find, in his words, for navigating the challenges of our modern world?
Well, Dunov, he emphasized a few core principles that I think are really relevant. First, he always encouraged people to cultivate a sense of wonder and curiosity about the world. Remember, for him, like every discipline was a way to tap into that wisdom of divine science. Second, nurture that connection to your intuition, that inner compass that's guiding you towards your highest good. And third, really just, let love be your guiding force. And not just, romantic love, but a love for all beings, a deep understanding that we're all interconnected.
It's about living with intention, right?
Yeah.
Aligning our thoughts, our words, our actions with that deeper sense of love and interconnectedness.
Exactly. And, Dunov's teachings, they weren't meant to be like rigid dogmas or, know, they were more like invitations, to embark on our own journeys of self-discovery, to become really active participants in our spiritual evolution.
It's about remembering that we're not just here to survive, but to thrive, to grow, and to contribute to the creation of a more harmonious world.
Precisely. And sometimes that journey begins with, questioning our assumptions, digging beneath the surface of things and embracing these new ways of seeing the world.
It's about cultivating that childlike sense of wonder and curiosity, always asking questions and remaining open to new possibilities.
Exactly. It's about becoming, lifelong students on this journey we call life.
Well, I have to say, this deep dive into Dunov's legacy has been truly eye-opening. His teachings offer this really profound blend of ancient wisdom, esoteric insights, and even practical guidance for navigating the complexities of life.
It's a treasure trove of wisdom waiting to be, discovered and explored.
And remember, the journey, it doesn't end here. We encourage you to continue delving into Dunov's teachings and see what resonates with you. What if his words hold keys to unlocking your own, hidden potential? What if by embracing his vision of a world guided by love, we can help create a brighter future for ourselves and for generations to come? Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep. Until next time.